Simplicity, so that we can be Jerusalem, the city of the great temples. We can be Jericho, the city of great miracles. We can be the Sea of Galilee, the place of the great encounters finally. Each day, we are a little of this holy land. Now we are the place of the miracle. Sometimes we are the place of silence. No matter what the place is, where you identify with today, the important thing is that you are aware that of those many places that make up the Holy Land, you are one of them today. Look how it is. A lot of people, I will give you a simple example for you to understand. There are people who need to break with dating who are terrible, disastrous. That person only hurts you. You know it? But you have a bond with them. You have affective need. You can't break that relationship. So you suddenly encourage yourself. You get all clear before you. This person doesn't do me good. I can't marry that person. Because if in the time of dating is already like this, imagine at the time of my marriage, then in my married time, will become even worse hell than it already is. Then you encourage yourself, motivated by people next to you to break. This is terrible the day you break. Suffering is cruel within you. It seems that you will never recover again, that you only think of that person. Why? Because although it makes you so bad, you have a sick bond with it, of affective dependence. You know she is bad for you, but you don't know how to live without her. Then you start to take steps. The first week is horrible. You suffer. You cry. You can't hear the music. You can't smell it. You can't see that little piece of I don't know what he forgot at your home. That all that is terrible. But suddenly you start taking steps for liberation. It's like you are walking towards a land that will only do you good. And a month later, that suffering was better. 2 months later, that better suffering. And suddenly you are no longer remembering. Of course, there is still a silent bond being disarmed. Because affective dependence, it does not die from night. We need it. It's as if you are choking a cancer cell with the chemotherapy process, you know? That you are removing the life of the cancer cell, which is the cell that kills us. Then let's say 3 months later, you meet again with that person and you have that famous relapse. There it is ready. The castle you were building, the floor you had been walking, which had been so difficult, you throw it away and you come back to Egypt. You come back to slavery. You do the same as Moses' companions wanted to do, eat onion again, eat the rotten, damaged food again. Then you resume that relationship because it is sick and you have not taken care of the proper distance you should maintain. Because when you have this affective dependence, you have to establish the distance because otherwise you don't heal. You have to stop wanting to know about that person's life because otherwise you don't heal. You need to stop running down her Facebook because otherwise you don't heal. You need to stop investigating your life, where she went, where she was. You have to cease all points that may make you want to go back to Egypt because otherwise you will never break free. Then 3 months later, you are beautiful and beautiful already, killing the cancer cell. You will give some more kisses on the mouth. Come back, that horrible dependence and hell returns in your life. In your first week is even good that everything is coming back. In a moment, my daughter, you are in hell worse than you were 3 months ago. And so, when we do not know how to live the discomfort that builds us, we get boycotted all the time. It's like stopping drinking. It's like stopping smoking. You run out of smoking a year and you celebrate because you have stopped throwing that carcinogenic toxin into your body. And suddenly you go there and light a silly cigarette. And that addiction comes back like a monster capable of eating you whole hell. All of that sacrifice you made of the early days without smoking go to the bag. Why? All that sacrifice goes to the bag. Why? Because you were not able to live the discomfort of renouncing. My people, it's impressive how this hand of God helps us like this, making us aware of what we need to break in our lives. These are situations that we need to set limits for them because otherwise we will never be healed. We will be eternally ill in line with the needy, crying and begging a bolt of kindness of the other, a roll of affection for each other. For God's sake, we were not made for it. We did not go made to drag effectively dependent on others. We were made to love, and love only makes sense in our life if it is to build us, if it is to help us cross the discomfort of the desert. Otherwise, it makes no sense. This pseudo-love, this false love that sometimes we say feels for each other, that does not help us in the discomfort of the desert. I need to live my deserts. You need to live yours. And true friends are those who recognize the deserts the other needs to pass and speak. That's right. Let's go through this desert because you need it. Now, Apolloniana, she wants that happy, ordained life. Remember that character? Apolloniana, where everything was the happy game, right? So as to murder this childish instinct that exists within you, which makes you afraid of life's discomfort. The discomfort of life, when well lived, it only makes us better. Take this little poor mask that you stick to your face for others to be eternally sorry for you. You only waste time in life like this. What a silly. God holds us in our hand is to be able to cross this desert. It is not to be falling forever and again eating the onions of Egypt because we had pity of us, because we had to pity the other. No. The walk is forward that goes. And a moment comes when Moses arrives before God and speaks. Now you solve this situation. Because I don't know more what to do. They have already built a gold calf in the middle of the way, have already confused. They are already loving even other situations. Then not even remembering that the Lord exists. They just don't come back because it's too far away. But they return in another way. Do not return in geography. They do not come back geographically because it was far from Egypt. They would die halfway. But they did not return geographically, but they returned affectionately. Because sometimes we have already surpassed the territory of our physical slavery. I already got out of jail, but the jail didn't leave me. That's how it works. I already stepped towards my freedom, but I didn't achieve my freedom. I did not decree the conquest of my freedom, so I am affectionately attached to my past, mourning the onions of Egypt, mourning the dating that ended, the situation that was over, the friendship that was betrayed. So when Moses is before the Red Sea and he gets terrified, because now they had nowhere to go, or cross the sea, or return to Egypt, and the Pharaoh's army was already coming to capture them. That he does. He has a private meeting with the Lord, a particular urgent audience. Call God's secretary and speak. For God's sake, you ask him to serve me today, that I can no longer be without that answer. Pharaoh's army is coming. And then he thinks God would give him an easy answer, right? Was going to give a quick solution? No. What does God speak? Remember, Gil? Remember? Run. Right? Enter this water. Look what a strong phrase. Tell the people to walk. I will not do for you what only you can do. I will give all the graces to make the miracle happen. I will strengthen your courage. But if you do not put your foot in the water, if you do not challenge the sea, it does not open. And that's what the people did. And today, motivated by the trip of the Holy Land, which today is the first opportunity I have to be with you, after having stepped on the ground, the same one who saw Jesus grow, you look at those places where he grew up, the places he certainly frequented, the things that enchanted his eyes, which filled his eyes. Somehow we start to know a little more friend of us. If we have the opportunity to go to the roots of our friendships, we certainly become more friendly. because it causes within us a form of knowledge that coexistence might not have given fully. Know the root, where our great friends was born. I confess to you that this was the mystique that took the Holy Land, knowing that I was knowing the floor of my best friend, life, the place where it sprouted, where all the great events took place, looking at the Sea of Galilee and thinking that it was there that Jesus found his friends. Put our foot in that water and think that even though it is not the same water from that moment, somehow we can set a bridge it. Somehow we can also feel like that time. Look there, the Holy Sepulchre. To think that the root of our faith is there. I wondered, my people, what brings sacredness to a place? What makes a land be holy? And it was so that we said goodbye to the Holy Land in the last celebration we performed there. A land is wider as it is loaded with meanings. The concept of the sacred is that it is you to remove from the commonplace, and you put in a reserved place. The sacred is what you have selected in the midst of everything that is ordinary, everything that is common, and you bring to a different atmosphere. It is you to remove the place every day, and you put it in the special place. When we say that the earth is holy, that it is sacred, it is because somehow the events that took place there were taken from the ordinary and became special for many people. So that we need to remove the sandal of the feet the same way as Moses listened. Remove the sandal from the feet to enter a territory that, Ishali, a territory that is holy because it is a sacred place for many people. It is a place of meaning for many people, including for me. Stepping the Holy Land was to recognize the places of my meanings. There, seeing the place where Jesus lived is somehow transporting me. To think that today everything I believe, everything that moves me as a priest, as a man, was there that happened. It was there that everything that moves our faith happened. How wonderful, my people. It is us to return from the Holy Land with the desire to sanctify what is ours. To think that I am also invited to make my land a holy land. Discover on the ground of my house, on the floor of my house, the same sacredness that is in the Holy Land. Because only faith, meaning, can make this bridge between my heart and the Holy Land that I stepped on. Then I collect the sacredness to me too, and I begin to pronounce my name by recalling me that I am also a holy territory for a very simple reason. The same God who walked in that land also walks here. The same Jesus who stepped on that soil also stepped here. And even if you have never stepped on the Holy Land, you can also say, I am also a holy soil. Because if the soil gets holy because the sacred stepped on it, ready, you are also a saint territory. Because God passes you time all. You are also Jericho. You are also Galilee. You are also Galilee. You are also Jerusalem. Where God goes through all the time and happens, the soil of his heart, the soil of his... We are also Holy Land. We are the extension of that holy place. In us God also happens. Just as God elected a small place in the world, a place full of contradiction, a place full of wars, God chose that place, the belly button of the world, to fully manifest in his Son, Jesus' Son. Because the mystery of the Incarnation needed homeland, needed a city, needed a place. Belém, a small town in the countryside, a poor town, that's where God chose. Who knows, today you also recognize yourself that the poverty of your heart makes you similar to Bethlehem, a town hidden in the middle of so many others. How many times do we feel this, right? How many times do we look at us and feel a city hidden in the midst of so many other cities? But then, in this place that my eyes do not reach, that may not even come to the knowledge of many people. Because the mystery of the Incarnation, it has its historical unfolding in each of us. God remains embodied by the strength of his Son in us. It is the mystery of the resurrection. It is the mystery of the Incarnation. It is the mystery of God's continuity in time. God continues to happen in you and you. So that we can be Belém, the city of I. Thank you for joining us on this spiritual journey at Path of Faith. Your participation is key to our community's growth, so please leave your comments, give us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more uplifting content.